Welcome to Telly Talk, where we talk about what's on the telly. By that I mean we talk about what's on our minds, because we're Telly. I'm Soul, and I'm still exhausted. And I just finished shooting my horror film yesterday.
That's so cool. I'm Tyler, and I didn't do that. I worked at a haunted house over the weekend.
That's spooky. It's October. It's the second
Yeah,
week of
we're
October.
we're spooky season
We're
it up here at
spooking.
Telly Productions.
We're spooky. We're spooky.
We're spooky because it's spooky. Today we're talking about Scream 3. We tried to record this podcast last year, and then it got corrupted, so we're trying again.
No, my computer exploded and all my files got deleted.
Yeah, that was really fucked. We're gonna be. Last year we did Scream 1 and Scream 2. This month we're gonna be doing Scream 4, 5, and 6.
All of
3,
October, we're
4,
doing
5,
the
and
rest of
6.
Scream series.
Eventually there'll be a seventh one. I'm kind of pissed about it, but we'll get to it at some point. I really like Scream, and last month you picked over the garden wall, so now it's
Yeah,
my turn.
it's your turn.
I will say though, even though I really like Scream, the third one is the worst one, and that's what we're talking about today.
I can definitely tell. I didn't like it. It was stupid.
I hated it more the first time I watched it. When on a rewatch, it's more enjoyable, in my opinion, because
Really?
it's one of the reasons it's a bad movie is because too much is happening. And on a rewatch, you can appreciate the funny jokes that are being made because you're not confused the whole time.
Yeah, yeah.
And that makes it more enjoyable, but it's still full of plot holes, and I hate it. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, I get that. We haven't talked
Okay.
about a movie
Do you
in
want
so long, I forgot
how to talk
how to
about a
do
movie?
this. Yeah. It's been over a
Okay. Do you
month,
want to
but
start going? Should we? Should I give like a short summary and then start going through the movie?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. In Scream 3, at the time it was like the third and final Scream movie wrapping up the trilogy. Scream is a meta slasher whodunit, so it being the third one in a trilogy, it's like meta. How does a trilogy work? And it's like making fun of horror movie trilogies. Then it's a slasher, but oh, they spiced it up with only one ghost face. But actually, in my opinion, there were three ghost faces this movie, and I'm gonna tell you why. Um,
I also thought
and
there would be more than one, but there wasn't.
it's like, oh, they did one for the first time, switching it up, but there were at least two, and there were two for sure. There were two in my like for realsies, and then in my head there's also a third. Um, Sydney Prescott is traumatized after living through two slasher movies as the final girl, so now she lives by herself alone in the woods. And Cotton Weary is a big famous talk show host, and Dewey and Gale had dated for a bit. Now they're broken up, and then the Hollywood is filming Stab 3, even though
Can
Stab
you
was based off of the Scream movies, and then now we're on the third, but they're already filming Stab 3 because they're just skipping ahead and making up plots at this point in the Stab universe. And basically, a killer starts going after the cast of Stab 3, and then Dewey and Gale and Sydney come out of hiding, and a slasher movie ensues.
can you kind of recap the roles of from the original film, like the people who are in Dream 3, like who they were originally?
Oh, like the main characters?
Yeah.
So Sydney Prescott is the main final girl in the first Scream movie. She was a high schooler whose mom died a year before, and then she was dating Billy Loomis, who turned out to be one of the two Ghostface killers. Gail Weathers
Wait,
was
wasn't that one? Never mind. Go keep going.
Gail Weathers was a bitchy journalist who had some character development, and then this movie threw it all away, and then made her have more character development. And I'm going to talk about that too. And Dewey was is a little deputy guy, but now he's like working on the set of Stab 3 to help out.
Was Cotton in the first film or the second?
Okay, so yeah, so Cotton was in all of them actually. Cotton was when Sydney's mother was raped and murdered, Sydney falsely accused Cotton of doing it because it really seemed like it was him.
Oh yeah.
But then it turned out it was Billy Loomis, and Cotton was in jail, and like framed for it. And Gail Weathers was the girl who was like, I don't think Cotton did it. And then during the second movie, Cotton was like, Hey Sydney, no hard feelings, but I really want to get famous after all this. So could you just go on a Good Morning America with me? And Sydney was like, No. And then Cotton was like, Fuck you, I want to be famous. Um, and then Sydney kind of like was like, here's your hero after the second movie, and then he got famous. And then that's where kind of the third movie starts. So
Okay.
the third movie starts with Cotton.
I remember now.
You see that Cotton is driving home in Hollywood, and there's like a billboard with his face on it, and he has like a talk show. He has a talk show called 100% Cotton, and I think that was kind of funny. I'll give him that.
Yeah, that was like that's a
Um,
great show name.
that was like kind of banger. Cotton went off with that one, and I do want to say it's kind of. He says at some point that he was the number one talk show in the country, and I think that that's crazy that he achieved that. Because if we just look at the timeline that the movie's established, we know that 1 year before Scream 1, Sydney's mom died, and this movie takes place 4 years after Sydney's mom dies because Roman says, 4 years ago I went to find my birth mother. Spoiler alert, Roman is the killer, and he is Sydney's half brother. So Sydney's mom had another kid a long time ago. Anyway, he's also the director of Stab 3. So Roman, at the end of the movie, says, 4 years ago, I went to find my birth mother, but she rejected me, so I had her killed. So this means 4 years after Sydney's mom dies, the current movie, Scream 3 is happening. Scream 1 happens 1 year after Sydney's mom died. So that means that 3 years later is Scream 3. So that means that everything between like Scream 2 and Scream 3, because Scream 2 is like Sydney's in college a year later. So and everything between Scream 2 and Scream 3 is like a 2 year period, and Cotton just somehow became the number one talk show host in America. How did he do that?
That's not enough
He
time
has
for like
charisma.
anything that anybody did.
He's 100% Riz.
Yeah. I think it was just because women think he's attractive, so they would all tune in.
I think he just has a lot of charisma.
Yeah, and like women like him.
Yeah.
Like his audience was
And
definitely all
then,
women.
oh yeah. And he loved that. When Cotton drives back to his house at the beginning of the movie, in his own house, he has his own talk show on the TV.
Maybe his girlfriend was
Isn't
watching
that.
it.
Dude, about his girlfriend. About his girlfriend. Scream 1 starts off with this girl who has a boyfriend, and she's on the phone with Ghostface but doesn't know it's Ghostface because it's the first kill ever. And she's talking to this guy who ends up killing her, but she's kind of like flirting with him a little bit because he's showing interest in her. And she's like, I don't have a boyfriend. Hey, you want to watch a scary movie together? And then it turns out that Ghostface had already like caught her boyfriend and killed him, and then went to kill her. And this is like a callback to that kind of. And Scream does callbacks a lot. And Cotton is on the phone with this girl, and because Ghostface in this movie has a voice changer. We're gonna talk about the voice changer too, but he, Ghostface is using like a girl voice, and is like flirting with Cotton, and Cotton's like, I don't have a girlfriend. Hey, you 100% Cotton fan? And then it turns out that Ghostface is already at his house, killing his girlfriend, and that was a fun callback.
Yeah, that was cool.
Um, the first kill was really really smart, like making the girlfriend think that it was Cotton by using the voice changer, so then when Cotton got home, she went after him. That would like that. This was like a really smart Ghostface kill, and that whole first kill sequence in this movie was like the best part of the movie. I wish the rest of the movie was as good as the first kill, because the first part of the movie has just another layer of mystery because you don't know about the voice changer yet. So like you're kind of confused about what's going on, and manipulating the girlfriend is just really smart. And then it's like, why don't any of the other Scream killers that come after this use a voice changer? Because that would be really smart. And then also, this takes place in the year 2000. This technology didn't exist,
It barely does today. I feel like it's
right?
just
Like it's so
starting.
specific. It's like practically like what he's using is almost like an AI voice thing. Like it's
Yeah.
like
Like that's
perfectly
just being
matching
invented
someone's
now.
voice. That's crazy that they use this in an otherwise like realistic movie.
Yeah.
We should be talk show hosts. I think we would be good talk show hosts. What do you think?
We should be talk show hosts.
Do you think we'd be good talk show hosts?
What kind of show would we have?
Probably kind of what we're doing now.
Like a radio show? Or
Ooh, yeah.
or would we be like a late night show host?
Oh, we would be late night show
Has there ever
hosts.
been like a duo late night show host, like co-hosting?
I don't think so, and I think we
We
should be
should
the
be the
first.
first, yeah.
I think that would be so fun, and we would have such a good time.
Absolutely. Let's get that rolling.
All right, write that down. Write that down.
Write that down for the future.
So, when Cotton is Ghostface is like, haha, Cotton Knife, your girlfriend. Cotton's in the middle of like a huge traffic jam in Hollywood, and then he just drives like a fucking maniac asshole all the way home. And when my cat died, that's how I drove to the vet. I had to drive to the emergency vet like 30 minutes away because it was Labor Day and nothing was open. And I was driving like an asshole because I was trying to get there as fast as possible. And that's like very similar to what he was doing because he was in an emergency situation trying to get there as fast as possible. And then I'm like, man, I wonder how many times when people drive like assholes, it's because like something urgent is
I
going
feel
on.
like when you have to do something like that, you should turn on your hazards or something so people know that something's going on.
That's pretty smart. Cut to Hollywood. Go look up Silent Bob.
Oh, is that the guy who just waves at Gale or something?
Y- yeah, so one of them talks and one of them doesn't, and the guy who talks is like, "Hey, Silent Bob, look at her," and it's just really funny. And I feel like you're Silent Bob core.
Yeah, I am.
Cut to Sydney, living alone in the middle of fucking nowhere. She just has a dog and a fake name and a remote job with like a whole security system. And honestly, if I was the final girl in a bunch of horror movies, I would do that same thing. I would live exactly how she was living.
Yeah, me too, except I would probably surround myself with like 50 people and not by myself.
But the problem is that the people who are close to her keep being the killer. So it's like she wouldn't want to do that because she doesn't know if and she like doesn't trust anyone around her to not be the killer.
Doesn't she have a dad?
Yeah, he like visits during the movie, and he's like, "Man, I'm worried about you."
Why doesn't he live with her?
I thought he did the first time I watched it, and then on a rewatch, it seemed like he didn't, so I wasn't really sure.
Like, I would never live alone. If I did live alone, I'd have like a pack of wolves. Like
She has a
domesticated
dog,
wolves. No, I'd have a pack of wolves, a bear. I would have
so
guns, sentries. I would have my own
sentries
police. I would have
walk
like
around with a force field on you,
yeah, I would have a 10-foot brick
live in a
wall
bubble,
with
a moat,
with
an alligator, a
yeah,
drawbridge,
yeah, with barbed
a
wire.
fire-breathing dragon.
Yeah, I'd have a helicopter just so I could fly away if something were to happen.
Fuck that, get a rocket ship, zoom out of there.
Yeah, I just live it. I would move to the International Space Center.
Honestly, just you go through astronaut training just because you were the final girl in some slashers.
Yeah,
Just get out of there.
yeah.
Scream 20 Space Station.
Ew. They probably will go there.
I'm hoping they stop at 10 because if they 5, 6 and 7 was supposed to be a trilogy, but then they fucked up 7, and I was hoping 5, 6 and 7 would be a trilogy and then they do 8, 9 and 10 as a trilogy and then be done. But now we're fucked, I guess.
I
Okay,
wish
so
they would
Sydney
have just stopped at 3.
3 just sucked though, so I'm glad they made better ones. Like 4 and 5 and 6 are better than 3.
Well, like the You don't need 10 Scream movies.
No, I agree.
Like,
They're
3
just
is
fun, low
fine.
stakes horror movies. So I think like if they're making horror movies, they're fun, low stakes. Right. So Sydney has her little remote job, right? And then she gets a call from the killer using a voice changer to like impersonate her mother, and she realizes the killer is calling her on her home phone, not her work phone. And Sydney's like, "Fuck. I guess he knows where I am. I better go to Hollywood where he is." And it's like, "Girl, just because he had your phone number does not mean he had your address. Why would you take that as I should go to
Well,
LA where he is
well,
because he had my phone number?"
back in like the 2000s, usually you can find, I mean, you can find a phone number attached to an address. You can literally open a phone book in the 2000s, find the phone number, and then the address.
But surely she would have been off the book, like,
Well,
for
yeah, but
security
like if it's that
reasons.
simple to find someone's phone number and address in a book that's distributed to hundreds of people around a city, it would be easy enough to find it under a fake name. Like if he could find her under a fake name and get her home phone, he definitely knew where she lived.
I guess. But it's like he just wanted her to come to LA and she just like took the bait. And that was dumb.
Well, yeah.
So then a plot hole in the movie is how did he get her phone number? Because the movie wants you to think that the cop, Mark Kincaid, who I hate, who goes on
Me
to marry
too.
her, the movie wants you to think he's the killer because he goes, "Hey Dewey, can I borrow your phone?" And Dewey goes, "Yeah,
Yeah,
sure. Here's my phone."
exactly.
And then the next scene is Ghostface calling Sydney, and when he did not previously have her number. So it wants you to think Mark is one of the killers. But then it's like, haha, no, we tricked you. He's not one of the killers. But then it never, ever, ever explains how he got her number. And Mark should just be one of the killers because him showing up at the end of the movie acting like he was on like their side just felt like a fake out, and like just the entire time he was so suspicious. I thought he was Ghostface the whole movie. They never explain how Roman by himself as a solo killer got Sydney's number. I've seen a couple of theories online. The theories I've seen online are that it's established that Jennifer is an actress playing Gail in the movie, and also is like kind of dating Dewey, and Dewey's just dating her because she looks like Gail, which is kind of funny. So the movie establishes that Jennifer sleeps with Roman, and people are like, maybe because Jennifer used Dewey's phone, maybe when Jennifer slept with Roman, she had Dewey's phone on her, and then Roman looked through it. But that's her reach. And another
I think that's
theory is that
reasonable.
Roman, like the one time Jennifer had Dewey's phone, she slept with Roman and Roman looked through it. That's just like, come on. And the movie never explains that in the slightest. Like that's just like a theory people came up with to explain it. And then the other theory is that since Roman's the director and Dewey's on set, at some point Roman like confiscated people's phones and took Dewey's phone and looked through it. But like why wouldn't the movie establish that? These are reaches, and that's why I think to explain these plot holes that Mark is the secret third killer. Not the secret second killer, the secret third killer. Do you know who the secret second killer is?
Gail, actor Gail.
No, Angelina, the actress who plays Sydney.
Oh, 'cause she had that mask in the phone in the
There's so
bathroom.
much more than that, but yes. So, the original script of the movie had two killers, Roman and Angelina, and they made it through a good amount of production keeping it like that. And then they redid the script, which is kind of funny because you know how the movies are meta. In the movie, the actors complained about script rewrites. And then in real life, when they were making this movie, they did a script rewrite that fucked over the movie. They rewrote the script and they took out Angelina as a killer, but they didn't fix or reshoot anything. So that's why there's so many plot holes, because it already happened with two killers. And you can tell that there's a second killer. It's like it's so obvious. The scene where they're on the set of Sydney's old house, Ghostface fucking teleports. Like he's outside and then Sydney runs inside and then boom, he's inside. The only explanation for that would work would be two Ghostface. And right before that, Sydney finds Angelina in the bathroom changing into Ghostface gear. And the director has confirmed that that was Sydney catching her in the act, but Sydney let her go because she has guilt about thinking people were Ghostface in the past when they actually weren't. Think back to Scream 2 when she thought her boyfriend Derek was Ghostface and then he wasn't and then he died. So she doesn't want to wrongly convict Angelina. She's wrong, so she just lets her go. And then the movie's like, haha, I was just taking a souvenir. And then just lets it go like that because they never show her as a killer.
Interesting.
And you can also tell there's two killers because when Gale and Dewey find the Ghostface stuff in the house at the end, they take the voice changer. But then later, Ghostface comes up and is still using the voice changer. So it's like if there were two Ghostfaces, that would make sense. Like if they found Angelina's but didn't find Roman's or something.
Oh, he could have
You know?
multiple.
He could. But like just with everything else going on, I just feel like it makes sense that there's two.
Yeah.
Then, the director has confirmed in interviews that in his mind she was a secret third killer that got away. And in the box set of the first three Scream movies, there's a list of all of the victims from all of the movies. And in Scream 3, Angelina died, but we don't actually see her like completely die on screen like we usually do with people, with victims, because her body is dragged away. And on the first watch, I thought this was intentional. I thought that this was a fake death on purpose and the Ghostface was working with her to fake her death. But the movie never goes into that. The movie never is like, oh, we faked her death. But in the box set, she's not on the victim list. So I think that it was a purposeful Ghostface fake death and she was a secret third killer who got away. What do you think?
I mean, if the director said. I mean, if the original script was her being a killer, then yeah, obviously she was supposed to be a killer.
Yeah, and I just think the movie's funner with that in mind.
Yeah.
So she faked her death. I how would you feel if the past tense of faked was fuck?
Why would it ever be that?
Like she fuck her death.
It would.
Like take
It wouldn't be
is
that.
took. She faked. She fuck.
I feel like it'd be like
Take
sect.
took.
You fecked her death.
She fecked her death. I like that. She fuck her death.
It would not be
Fecked.
fucked.
I like fecked. I like fecked. All right, back to Mark Kincaid. It's kind of canon that Sid marries him because in the newest movie she mentions having a husband named Mark, and at the end of the movie they were cuddling, and there's like a throwaway line about him wanting to buy her flowers. But like imagine if he was a secret third killer, how fucked up it would be if he went on to marry her.
Yeah, why didn't they do anything with that?
Like they red herringed him too close to the sun. Like they made him like they tried to convince you it was him so hard that it becomes a plot hole if it's not him. Because throughout, before Sydney goes to Hollywood, he's always insisting on meeting her. He's like, Doobie, get her here. Doobie, when she coming here? Doobie, where's Sydney? Like, he wants her to come to Hollywood just like Ghostface. And later, he's like, I'm gonna go investigate the set. And then his partner, you hear a line of his like police partner going, "Where's my partner?" And it's like, if he went to go investigate, why wouldn't he go tell his partner what he was doing? And then Ghostface calls and knows that Sydney is at the police station by herself and is like, go somewhere you'll be alone. But Roman wouldn't fucking know where she is. It's like Kincaid would know where she is. Like, and he's not there, and his partner doesn't even know where he is, right? Like, that feels like he's the killer.
I also thought he was a little suspicious the entire movie.
He was so suspicious. Dude, this whole podcast is just gonna be me telling you plot holes that make me mad about this movie.
Yeah, and I just think it's a bad movie.
What do you think was bad about it? I'll let you talk.
Um, I don't know. What did I write down? I can tell you what I thought was good about the movie.
Oh, I could do that too.
I liked the bodyguard that Patrick Warburton was playing. 'Cause he would call Dewey, he'd be like, "Hey, Dewdrop," and he would only call
That
him
was
Dewdrop,
funny.
and that was the funniest shit ever, and I loved it.
That was hilarious.
He was my favorite character.
You know what
Um,
was funny in this movie? Dewey. Dewey was hilarious in this movie. If you like are actually paying attention to the little throwaway lines that happen, like he dated Gail's actress and then told her like you look so pretty in a photo where she looks identical to Gail.
oh
And
yeah,
then like that bit where Jennifer slaps him and then Gail slaps her and then is like my lawyer liked that. And then Sid appears in Hollywood and Dewey does this dramatic ass double take at her, and then Dewey does a dick measuring contest with Kincaid, and then his like, was that a threat? And then he's like, when it's a threat, you'll know. And then Dewey's like, was that a threat? Like they were goofy this movie.
yeah,
Dewey's really funny this
yeah.
movie.
The only other thing that I really liked about this movie was the house
No,
blowing
I have
up.
one more thing.
Um,
Sorry, what?
the house blowing up. They literally blew up a house. That was all
That
practical.
was cool as fuck. That was cool, right?
That had to be expensive. I want to know how much money that was to blow up that house. I'm gonna
And
look
it
that
looks
up.
so good. Another part that I liked is when Sydney shows up to the house and the Ghostface is smart because this Ghostface is smart in this movie and is like, "Oh, there's a metal detector for you. I want you to scan yourself for a weapon." And then there's a gun, and then Sydney takes the gun and throws it away. And at this point in the movie, the first time I watched it, I said out loud, like, "Oh, I wish she had a second gun in there so when she throws out the first one, he doesn't know that there's another one." And then that happens. She goes in and she just pulls out a second gun. And it was beautiful and it was marvelous. And I love that so much. It's one of my favorite parts of the movie. But I forgot it happened. So then the second time I watched this movie, she threw out the first gun. And I said out loud, man, she should have a second gun in there. It would be really smart of her to have a second gun and trick him. And then she goes inside and I go, oh shit, she has a second gun. And this happens every time I watch the movie.
People are mad that they blew up the house because someone said no residential property has even close to the required volume to contain that much gas.
Ah, whatever. It was cool. I just liked it because it was one of the first times where they like killed someone without stabbing them at all. And then after that, when they're
I
like
don't
at
know
the
how much
bottom of
it
the hill,
costs.
that's when Angelina's suspicious again, I think.
Because they blow up the house when they're there. So they had to build the house, or that house had to be, like, up for demolition to be able to blow up
Yeah.
that house. Also, I'm surprised they were allowed to be that close, but they probably used a telephoto
I
lens.
love your like little film student brain like going to work on this.
Listen, I just worked for 3 months on making a 6 minute short film, and there's so much shit that went into it that I am now like, how much did this cost? Wait,
How
no.
much
Like, how
goes
much
into
did,
everything
like,
else?
what was the process of it, like, blowing up this house? Like, I want to know. Like, what did they have to go through, and how much did it cost? And what safety measures did they have to put in place to do this? Because I want to know. Nobody's telling
You're
me.
so
Wait.
nobody's telling you. Go contact the director.
Oh. The part where Jennifer's house blows up is a quarter scale model replica of the house. But, like, what part of it? Because it cuts, there's like three different cuts of the house. So, like, which part was the quarter scale house? Definitely the close
I don't
ups.
know. Yeah, maybe.
Because, like, as they were running from it, it's blowing up. And then they're, like, far away on the other side of the pool, it's still blowing up. But then there's, like, a close up of, like, an overhead of it blowing up, and obviously that'll be the replica. I just want to know how much it costs to blow up a house like that.
And no one's telling you?
No one's telling me, they're just saying it's a model.
You know how Sydney doesn't like do anything about Angelina when she catches her because she feels bad about wrongly accusing her.
Yeah.
Why did she follow her alone into the set? Like, I know she left her hairbrush behind, but come on. You just caught her changing into a ghost face costume, and you're just gonna follow her into a set by yourself? Go
Yeah, I have
outside.
no idea.
Stupid. Then, when Roman as Ghostface kills that first actress, and he's like on the phone with her, she's the first one to die after Cotton. The with the voice modulator death scene. So Rome, like she's on the phone with Roman and then dies, and then Roman's like, "I didn't do it," and the police were like, "Well, you were on the phone with her," and he's like, "No, I wasn't. You, as the audience, we just saw the voice modulator death scene with Cotton, so we're like, oh, as a viewer." I'm assuming it's the voice modulator again, and it wasn't actually Roman. And then, haha, surprise, it is Roman. And that's the film tricking the viewer. And that makes a lot of sense from like a writing perspective to trick the audience, and it works really well. But
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense in universe. Why would Roman like you use his real voice for this kill and like make people know he's on the phone? Because in the universe, even though we as the viewer know that there's a voice modulator, no one else does. So why would he take that risk? Like, it's really unnecessary to take that risk, and I figure he's doing it to clear his name. Like, he wants to get caught on purpose, so then the police release him once they realize that like it wasn't his phone. But like, nobody knows there's a voice changer going on, so I don't understand why he takes the risk as a character, even though from like a filmmaking perspective it does throw the audience off really well. You feel me?
Yeah, I get you. Maybe, maybe because he needed to kill her, but the only person that he could like get her was with him.
Ooh, that's smart. You're smart.
It's like, why else would she be on the phone with anyone? Like, we don't need to know her background. We don't need to know anything about her. She's just a random girl that needs to get killed.
You have big brain. Also, another reason I didn't see Roman coming is because he fucking fake dies in the movie. And he doesn't just fake die, Gale checks his pulse, confirms that he's dead, and then they go, surprise, it was fake. Like, the
When did he
explanation is
die?
that Gale was. Yeah, Gale and Jennifer, I think, find his dead body, and then Gale checks his pulse and is like, "Oh my god, he's dead," and then they run away, and it was just him faking his death, which is fine. But why have them check his pulse and confirm he's dead? The explanation would be that they were just like really scared and didn't check his pulse right. But if not a plot hole, that's damn lazy writing, and it just, I never thought he was the killer because he just felt so irrelevant as a character at all times.
Yeah, when he like revealed himself, I'm like, oh, he's
I
the
was like,
half
who are you?
brother. Why are you here? And then he's like,
Who
I'm
are
the
you in the
director,
movie?
and I'm like, the who? When did we see you before
The
this
who?
time?
We saw him like twice.
Like
And
we,
it, like, why was he the solo killer? It's so
yeah,
bad.
and like we knew, like I knew more about the producer, like that old white guy. I'm like, oh, he's something. Like he's more important than the director because I have no idea who the director even was. Like anytime anyone said Roman's
Right?
name, I was like, who is Roman? Like who is this guy? Like I never knew who he was.
I don't like it. Stupid writing to have him as the only killer when he's so irrelevant. Like, he revealed himself the first time I watched it, and I was like, who are you?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, the final. No, not the final. The second to last reason I hate this movie is because it retroactively changes the plot of Scream 1. Scream 1, Billy is this fucked up guy who came up with a plan to kill Sydney's mom and Sydney because he's pissed about his dad having an affair with Sydney's mom. And it's like, why? Like, that's a crazy reaction to find out your your mom's having an your dad's having an affair with Sydney's mom, so you go and murder, and then his parents are like divorced because of that, so then you go and murder Sydney's mom. Like, that's crazy. And then it's like, what did Sydney have to do with that? Why are you killing Sydney? What the fuck was Billy's motivation to kill Sydney in Scream 1? Everyone else had a motive to kill her in all the other movies. Why did Billy want to kill her?
I don't know. Does she look like her?
Maybe. That's smart. See, you're so big brain with this. Anyway, he's just a fucked up teenager, and it's like that's like kind of part of the scary is that he's just psychotic. Um, but this movie changes all that, and it says Roman found Billy, told him about the affair, told him that he should go kill them, and it's just like it makes Scream 1 like less fun when it wasn't these teenagers who came up with the idea to kill all their friends, because it was just like this random dude went up to them and was like, "Hey, you should kill these people." I just don't
Well,
like
they
that it
weren't.
changes the plot of Scream 1.
Well, Roman like knew that guy was like friends with Sydney and everyone. Like they were all
Yeah,
connected. And so Roman
yeah,
was
I
like,
know.
I'm gonna fuck this up because she fucked up my life.
No,
And so I'm gonna
I
fuck
get
up her
Roman's
life.
motivation, and that's fine. Like, it makes sense from Roman's point of view. I just don't like that this movie changes Scream 1. Because, like, Scream 1 has, like, a clear storyline, and this movie goes, surprise, Billy didn't come up with this on his own. Roman came and told him what to do. And that just makes Scream 1, like, less fun, you know?
Yes.
But yes, Roman's motivation was he's pissed that Sydney had the life with her mom that he never got to have, and that like Sydney's mom rejected him as a son when he went to go look for her. And like that makes so much sense that Roman was pissed about that and wanted to kill everyone. But I don't like that it changes the storyline of Scream 1 like retroactively.
Yeah, I guess.
And then finally, this movie does the thing that Scream does all the time with Gale. It fucks up her character. Every movie, Gale starts off as a bitch who only cares about the story and doesn't care about the people she's hurting in the process. And then she goes through this movie and she learns and she grows and she becomes a better person. And she goes, you know what? I want to be a good person and I want to care about Dewey and I want to care about other people and not just the story. And then there's a time gap and then the next movie starts and she's like how she was at the beginning again. It just resets her every single time. And this movie did it. At the end of Scream 2, she was with Dewey, and then this movie started, and all of a sudden she's not with Dewey anymore because they weren't working out. And then at the end of this movie, she's with Dewey again, and she goes, "I don't want to write about this. I just want to like be a good person." And she gets like engaged to Dewey, and then I don't remember Scream 4 very well, but by Scream 5, they're divorced, and she's a bitch again. And then at the end of Scream 5, she's like, "I'm gonna write about how good of a man Dewey was, cause Dewey dies in Scream 5." And she's like, "I'm
That's
gonna
so
be a good
sad.
person." Yeah, it's really, really sad. I'll talk about that when we get to it. And then at the start of Scream 6, she threw all that out the window and she did write about the story and not about Dewey, and she's a bitch again. In this movie, Scream movies do a really, really good job at writing complex villain characters who have good motivations for killing people, but they kind of throw away their protagonists in the process.
Yeah.
So, in summary, this is my least favorite Scream movie because there are so many plot holes, and if they're not plot holes, they're lazy fucking writing. But it's more enjoyable on a rewatch because it makes more sense with the extra context. Because on the first watch, it's really confusing with all of these new fucking characters. So it's easier to follow the second time you watch it, which makes you more able to pay attention to the funny parts. And there are funny parts, so I hate it less than I used to. But it's just too much it's too much new information for you as the viewer to like really enjoy it on the first watch, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But you can put it all together better on a rewatch. But it's
Yeah.
still bad
It's
writing.
so bad that I wouldn't rewatch it. So like I wouldn't understand it.
Do you have anything to say about this movie other than
Um,
me throwing every single plot hole at you?
I didn't like it. I wouldn't watch it again. I liked The Bodyguard He was my favorite
Yeah, I
character.
like the bodyguard. Not Silent Bob. Damn.
He was cool, but like I really liked every single line that came out of that bodyguard's mouth.
He's so funny. Hey, Dewdrop.
Whoever, yeah, whoever wrote his lines deserves an award.
Something I just thought of with this movie. I know that Roman like really wanted revenge or whatever, but I feel like he should have just like tried to be he had a gig as like a director of a famous horror franchise in the universe. I don't know why he just didn't roll with that and like try and be like a famous director. Like he was a young guy, and he already had a really good gig directing a movie. And before he killed that other like big name Hollywood guy, the Hollywood guy offered him like, "I'll let you direct whatever movie you want. Like you can do whatever you want, whatever budget you want, just name and I'll give it to you." Like that's a director's dream, right? And he just kills him.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
You would love that.
he would.
Imagine a big Hollywood guy says that to you.
Yeah, I would like that, but he wouldn't have given that to him. He would have like called the police, and he would have definitely gone to jail.
Yeah, but still, he was directing Stab 3, and then he just killed everyone. It's like, bro, just go make Stab 3. Just go make Stab 3. What are you doing?
Did he do two and one or no?
I don't think so. I think he just did 3. Because there was like a whole plot where like 3 was weird because a lot of the actors quit or whatever, and they needed to like hire new ones. By the time we get to Scream 5, there's like 10 Stab movies in the universe. They just keep blowing them
Yeah,
out.
that's horrible.
And it's on purpose, right? Like, it's making fun of horror franchises that just keep chugging out new movies.
Yeah, they're making fun of themselves.
That's it. That's what Scream does on purpose, is Scream makes fun of its own movies and its own fans. Like, all the time, and it's genuinely hilarious. That's, like, one of the things I like about it so much, is that it makes fun of itself. Like the fifth Scream movie is not called Scream 5, it's just called Scream, which is stupid, because the first one's called Scream, and then it's like, now that you have 2 Screams. And inside the movie, they're talking about how Stab like 8 is just called Stab and not Stab 8, and they're like, God, that's so fucking stupid. Why would anyone do that? Just call it Stab 8. It's Stab 8, and it's like inside Scream 5 where it's not called Scream 5. It's so funny. I love when it makes fun of itself. Your favorite character was the security guard. My favorite character of this movie was Dewey because he was really goofy. What are you rating this movie?
We like goofy guys. I'll give it like
I like
a
goofy guys.
2.
I'll give it a 2.5. Like, I don't hate it. I'll put it on. But, like, it's the worst one by far, and it has so many plot holes.
Definitely.
Thank you guys for listening to the podcast. We went through this faster than I expected. Actually.
Really?
Yeah. I was listening to the voice memo, and it was like twice as long as this the first time we did this.
Yeah, we know how to cut ourselves down now. It's been a year. We know what we're doing.
We are experienced. We're not amateurs anymore.
Yeah, we don't get sidetracked anymore.
You should subscribe because it's spooky season and we're doing Scream all month long. We did Over the Garden Wall last month and it's banger. We have a good time here. We also play movies and make horror skits. We have a Cryptic Hair skit coming out at some point. Fuck. We play games. We make skits. We talk about movies. I don't know what I'm saying.
Me neither.
Bye.
Bye.